I am a 35-year-old man and a park ranger at Yosemite National Park. I've worked there for years, and during that time I've seen some things that have left me deeply troubled. Yosemite is known for its stunning beauty and natural wonders, but there's a side to this park that the public doesn't see. As a ranger, I've been sworn to secrecy about what goes on behind the scenes, but this event that happened a few months ago compelled me to spill the truth. So sit tight and listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you will shock you to the core. As a police ranger, I've had my fair share of encounters with people who claim to be under surveillance. One particular person, let's call him John, would often come to the station and complain about being followed and bugged. At first we were skeptical, but as John continued to report similar incidents over a period of several months, we began to take his claims more seriously. He reported strange clicking noises on his phone line and suspected that his house was bugged with hidden cameras and microphones. We investigated his claims thoroughly, but we could never find any evidence of wrongdoing. Despite this, John continued to come to us with his concerns, and we did our best to reassure him and keep a watchful eye on his safety. The last thing I wanted anyone to feel was that the police was unable to protect them, but as time passed, we understood that John's complaints are nothing but a side effect of his deteriorating mental health. One day, John rushed into the station with an unusual sense of urgency. He disregarded all formalities and strode straight into my office. I recognized him instantly. He was a harmless, familiar face. But his demeanor was different this time. Instead of appearing panicked, he seemed elated. He unfurled a map on my desk that was covered in red trails, each one marked with a day of the week and a set of times. I studied the map, trying to decipher the pattern. John spoke calmly. "I think I figured it out." A chill ran down my spine. What had John uncovered, and why was he so sure of himself? With a mysterious gleam in his eye, John went on to explain that he had been observing a strange animal that had been coming to his house recently. He referred to it as the skinwalker. He had been keeping track of the animal's appearances and had finally figured out its pattern. He believed that the animal was dangerous and that it was only a matter of time before it attacked someone. That's why he had come to us. He wanted to help catch the animal before it was too late. As he shared his story, I couldn't help but wonder what kind of creature he was describing. But one thing was clear. John was determined to help us catch it, and he was convinced that he could do it. He has talked about this strange creature a few times before, but I ignored it, thinking it was another element of his wild imagination. As I examined the intricate map before me, I turned to face John, completely taken aback by his cool and collected demeanor. This was not the same panicked individual who had frequently visited our station pleading for help. No, this was someone different, someone transformed by the urgency of the situation. I could feel the gravity of the moment. This was no ordinary matter. The level of detail and precision in this map was a clear indication that we were dealing with something far beyond our capacity as junior officers. We needed to think outside the box to come up with a strategy that would finally put an end to this bizarre and perplexing situation. With a renewed sense of purpose, I felt the surge of adrenaline course through my veins, determined to find a way to bring this to a close. "It will pass by my house again tonight," John said, pointing at his house on the map. I looked down and saw the time written beside it, 8:12 p.m. With a deep sigh, I stood up and said, "All right, let's catch it then." I saw a smile run over John's face as he thanked me for cooperation and said that he would be waiting for me with tea in the evening. My heart raced with excitement as I picked up the phone to call animal control. I needed them at John's house by 7:30 that evening. I couldn't help but wonder what this strange creature was, and I was determined to get to the bottom of it. I knew that dealing with a potentially dangerous animal was risky, but my curiosity was too strong to ignore. As I waited for animal control to arrive, my mind raced with thoughts of what I might discover. I was exhilarated by the prospect of encountering a creature that defied all explanation, and I couldn't wait to see what secrets it held. As the minutes ticked by, my anticipation grew, and I knew that this was going to be a night I would never forget. Me and the animal control officer were seated inside John's house by 7:30 p.m. sharp. The officer asked John to give a few details about how the creature looked to help better identify it, but he just replied with a calm smile and said, "You'll see for yourself, trust me." After a couple of minutes, all three of us were in the backyard, our eyes fixed at the bushes, waiting for the creature to appear. "2 more minutes," John whispered. My heart pounded in my chest as I strained to see through the thick foliage. I couldn't believe my eyes when, exactly at 8:12 p.m., the bushes in front of us rustled. What appeared was something I'll never forget. A creature unlike any I had ever seen before. It had a thick, matted coat of fur that looked almost black in the dim light, and its eyes glowed an eerie yellow-green. It looked like a coyote, but much larger, and it walked funny, as if its legs were too long or large for its body. I felt a chill run down my spine as I watched the creature's muscles ripple under its fur, and I couldn't help but whisper to the animal control officer, "What is that?" He was already loading his dart gun when he answered, "I have no idea." He wasted no time aiming and firing at the creature, which let out a blood-curdling yelp before standing briefly on its hind legs and then darting off in the direction it came from. I jumped up to run after it, but John pulled me back. "It's no use," he said. "It's too fast." As we watched the creature disappear into the night, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to this mysterious animal than met the eye. As I watched the creature disappear into the darkness, I couldn't shake off the feeling of disbelief. John, who'd always been known for his wild stories and erratic behavior, had been telling the truth about the creature all along. I turned to the animal control officer, hoping to get some reassurance, but his words only added to my confusion. The dart he had fired was just a tracking shot, and the creature was too large to be affected by it. My mind raced with questions. What was that creature? Where did it come from? And most importantly, what was its purpose for being here? After collecting the necessary evidence, I realized that there was nothing more that could be done from my end. I thanked John for his help and observations and assured him that he could come to me anytime he wanted. As I left, I couldn't help but feel grateful for John's keen eye and observation skills. I no longer considered him as a madman, but rather as a valuable member of our community who was willing to go the extra mile to protect his neighborhood. With the evidence in hand, I transferred the case to the Animal Control Department, hoping that they would be able to shed more light on this mysterious creature that had been haunting John. A month had passed since the incident, and I couldn't help but feel curious about the case. I contacted the Animal Control Department to inquire about the progress and was surprised to hear that all of John's observations had turned out to be accurate. But the bombshell they dropped on me was even more shocking. They had found the dart in the area, but there was no sign of the skinwalker anywhere. I couldn't believe what was happening. Had John been right all along? My mind was racing with questions, and I couldn't help but wonder what else was out there that we didn't know about. As I hung up the phone, 1,000 questions rose in my mind. If the dart was found but the skinwalker wasn't, then where did it go? Was it still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its next victim? I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this story, more to the creature that John had seen. And as I walked out into the cool night air, I couldn't help but look over my shoulder, wondering if I was being watched by the same eyes that had haunted John's every waking moment.